Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an accomplished pilot turned entrepreneur, Captain Rajat Jaiswal from India. Rajat, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutoshi. Hello, audience. Hello, all of you.
Thank you. Captain Rajat Jaiswal is the co-founder of Wat-a-Burger, and he's a senior commander in a leading airline in India. And today we're not going to talk about his flying skills. We're going to talk about his culinary skills. So, Rajat, let's talk Wat-a-Burger today. Tell me about this venture and what was your motivation to start?
So motivation entirely, I would talk about, the idea to set up a business in India. I saw a lot of gap in fast food segment in India. It's a leading segment. QSR is growing rapidly. And I saw a lot of space which is available, which could be easily transformed into a good burger chain. So choosing Wat-a-Burger was primarily because I saw burgers as easy to spread, easy to make, easy to establish. Recipes could be easily done. It was easy to replicate the model, not very difficult to replicate it anywhere in India. What we wanted was to establish something which can be easily taken into cities which are tier 2, tier 3 also. So even though airlines do give a very good package, you are in a very comfortable job, I always was the kinds where I wanted to set up something on my own. So the inspiration came from two or three things primarily. One being aviation having a lot of ups and downs always, an industry which is dependent on a lot of things, not just fuel prices. They depend on how the rights are between different countries, etc. It's a job which primarily depends on your health, your medicals. So it's a skill-based job. So I saw a lot of places, a lot of things, a lot of situations wherein the job wasn't 100%. So I said, why not start something which is secondary and accelerate it to a point where I can take it.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And before I get into the actual burger, as a startup entrepreneur, what have been some of your challenges and learnings as you are scaling up?
So, well, number one was making recognition for yourself. So we belong to an industry where we do a lot of franchising. So franchising primarily comes from recognition. So unless somebody recognizes you as a brand, they would not pay money to take a franchise. So our initial hurdle was convincing people that we do belong to the industry at a level where we can replicate our format and we can give you a substantial business as a franchise. So that was the first challenge we faced, competing with all the giants which were there in the market and telling people that no, we're a made in India brand. The second was, of course, when you scale in India, there's a lot of problem with logistics and reaching tier 2, tier 3, training manpower. So all these were secondary challenges, which were not too big to overcome. I think they are a common challenge for everybody who's in the business industry in India, but not very tough. And the third primarily being time management, because my job, even though it gives me a lot of time, I mean, once you switch off the engines of an airplane, there's nothing else to do, right? You don't carry your work home unlike other jobs. Correct. So in one way it is pretty good, but the timings are very off. There are days when I'm brushing my teeth at 11 p.m. and then there are days when I'm probably landing at 4 a.m. So I really had to manage my time because this was primarily a day event. I had to get all the licenses and things done during the daytime, paperwork all during the daytime, looking at locations, setting up a restaurant, talking to people, looking at management, all was daytime. So time management became a really big problem for me.
Amazing, amazing. So, we all, I mean, whether it's the audience or me, we've all, eaten burgers, eaten good burgers, eaten bad burgers. What goes into making a good burger?
Well, I would say it's a very, very personal choice. So we don't play around with things that I like or my friends like, or maybe one or two odd customers like. We've been doing things purely on statistics. So our first point was the fusion of Indian flavors into a burger, and of course the price point. So when we talk about what makes a good burger, the number one aspect which people see in India for the masses, the numbers that we deal with, is what price it comes at. So even though I might have a very good burger, which is priced at probably 700, I know that 80% of my clientele would not like it primarily because of its price, even though it tastes brilliant. So we had to make a good balance between what it costs to eat a good burger and not just make a good burger.
Mm-hmm.
So our idea was that if we have a certain bracket, let's say 100 rupees, I have to make the best burger in 100 rupees, and that's what we do. So it goes down to, I think the primary content and the most common content in a burger is the bun, which we bake ourselves. And that's what sets us apart from other brands, because we are the only burger chain in India which is baking their own buns. So we put a lot of effort into doing that. The shelf life is far lesser than the ones in the market because it's less preservatives, fresher. The grains that we pick up, the flavors that we infuse, the seeds that we put in. So I think the primary content, the first thing which enters your mouth from the burger is the bun. So we put a lot of concentration there. And then, of course, it's the whole mouthfeel, the way the sauces are and the patty is, etc. So yeah, I hope that answers.
Fascinating. No, fascinating. Fascinating. I mean, I'm from a different vintage, much older, and I grew up and I was in college eating the Rula's burgers. And then, of course, when we were overseas, it was McDonald's and, the other big brands. But, there are a lot of Indian brands like Wat-a-Burger coming up in India. Why is there such a large number of companies or individuals focusing on the burger business?
Well, you see, Indians have always had a knack for fast food, and typically for things which come from the West. So people see it as a difference in variety. I mean, when you go to regular Indian cuisine, you can do a lot of variety. You can probably do biryanis, you can do curries, you can do gravies. But into fast food, there are very, very limited things that can easily be picked up. Burger being easy because people can just grab it and have a bite. It can be made very economical. It is very similar to some of our Indian snacks like the vada pav. So a lot of population is used to something seeing like that. So just from the regular sandwich, which happened to be another fast food product, which was very common, the burgers have taken that some segment of that sandwich product. So people see it easy to sell in the market because the population already exists, which will adapt it as food. Secondly, it is always easy to replicate the model of a burger. See, it doesn't go into very different cooking or you need some exceptional skills to cook a burger. No, it's primarily assembling. Even if you look at some of the global giants or if you look at our setup, it's primarily you fry a patty, you grill a bun, you put some sauces. It's primarily assembly. So it doesn't involve cooking like a biryani or maybe a gravy. So it's easier to scale, replicate, and have your consistency across the scale. So I think that is the primary reason why people are picking it up.
Fascinating. And you spoke of vada pav. It took me back to 1977-79 when I was doing my MBA in Mumbai. And our staple food was a vada pav outside the MLA hostel in Mumbai and a kala khatta. So my question to you is that are Indians beginning to experiment more with their food?
Oh yes, certainly. There is no two way about it. When we started in 2016, that's the first year we did our first joint. We were primarily, how we were different was we were doing a lot of fusion food, which was an experiment that we tried, and it became successful because people wanted to try something different. So yes, the Indian population is very much open to experimentation. They want to try new things, and that is because now we have some very good startups in the industry. We've got a lot of food items. So when people step out to eat, especially in tier 1 cities, they get so much of choice that they've become used to it now. So when they go to a restaurant, unless they see something which is different from the one that they've been to before, they're not really happy. So we started doing fusion, like infusing some Indian flavors into a burger. And we saw the global giants now replicating that and starting to do that just 2 years back, something which we've been doing for 7 years. So I think the West is now catching up to the sentiments of Indians, wherein they want the Western food to be, somehow mixed up and into a fusion with the Indian flavors. So yes, they do love a lot of experimentation.
No, you're so right. I mean, in December, I was on a holiday in France, and deep down south, I went to a McDonald's, and there was an aloo tikki burger there.
Yeah.
But Rajat, tell me, you said a couple of times about how you are experimenting with Indian flavors. Tell me a little more about the kind of burgers you have at Wat-a-Burger.
Well, I just name a few products and give you a more detailed description. So we have an aloo achari, which is our, the starting, I would say, a flagship low-cost product. And it's the most popular product. Then what we have is a veg fantastic, which is starting at 29 rupees.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have burgers like the chicken makhani burger. We have the bantastic kadhai paneer burger, So these are some of the popular items. Now, talking about it, the fantastic, what is the beauty of fantastic? It is a regular burger, nothing very different from, what we do or eat at McDonald's or probably other brands. What is difference is the difference is the price. At in 2022, we are still selling a veg fantastic for 29 rupees, and that's a price point at which even McDonald's does not have an entry level burger now. So it's not something which is just a plain patty and bun. It has a lot of veggies. It's got some coleslaw. So good mouthfeel, a good creamy coleslaw along with an aloo patty, which is slightly Indian. So everything that we make has a lot of flavors which are infused. So unlike a regular aloo patty, our patty would always have some kind of garam masala, some seasoning, some flavoring. The chicken patty that we use is somewhat on the lines of a chicken seekh kebab. So when you have the chicken patty as a standalone product also, let's say you just try the grilled patty and take a bite, you'll have the flavors which you generally get in a chicken seekh kebab. So it's very Indianized. The gravies, of course, having said that, butter chicken burger is exactly a butter chicken gravy which goes inside a burger. So the kind of products that we have are all picking up flavors which are very, very popular. Butter chicken being the most popular non-vegetarian gravy in India. We knew that this is a flavor that we can really play with. In vegetarian, you have paneer makhani, more or less the same gravy. So we know that there's already a market which is existing for that kind of flavor. And if we combine that with the Western product, we can get a good product which can easily sell. So that's what we do. We make a lot of wraps also, which are vegetarian. We've got a lot of shakes, and our entire menu is spread across Indian flavors. So we have a kesar pista shake along with aloo achari burger. So the moment you order a meal at Wat-a-Burger, let's say your tray has aloo achari, it has a kesar pista shake, it has, now we are about to launch a banta soda also. You have that also, plus you have a chicken makhani burger, and on fries you have chili chapata seasoning. So it's actually a very flavorful Indian meal that you have right in front of you with the face and shape of a Western product. So even though it is still a QSR, it is still a burger chain, what we actually selling is typically Indian flavored food. Like if you see aloo achari, it is nothing different from aloo puri. Once you have the flavors in your mouth, it is basically what we've grown up as kids. That's what my mom used to cook and pack inside my tiffin all the time. You'll have a mango pickle piece, and you'll have some jeera aloo, and you'll have a puri. So if you infuse those flavors, that's what you get in a grilled bun with aloo patty and an achari mayo sauce. So
how nice. And how many physical restaurants do you have now? I mean, own and franchise.
We in total, our number would be above 75. We in the last 4 months we've done some aggressive growth. In December alone, we opened 8 new stores. In Jan, we've done about 6 more stores, and in Feb we've done, I think, another 6. So March again, we have some 6 stores lined up. So we are scaling pretty quick because COVID had put kind of a pause in the entire thing. So now we are getting back on track.
Very interesting. So my next question to you, Rajat, is that there are these major global burger chains who are all over the world. Where are some of their vulnerabilities when they look at Indian markets?
Well, see, the primary reason, what I tell everybody, our hashtag for Wat-a-Burger is India Ka Burger. So we are a made in India brand. And what I tell everyone is that in a country of 150 crore people, do we really need a Western product to sell? We can make our own. So when you see all these global giants, they've scaled beyond a point where they don't work on the aspect which probably works with Indians. So the Indian population is growing very fast in terms of, as you rightly said, experimenting with food, and they are now experimenting at a higher price point also.
Correct.
So the numbers which we used to have in our lower menu range are slowly climbing up. So we see the peak of orders at a price point which is between 80 rupees to 200 rupees. rather than 29 rupees to 70 rupees, which used to be 5 years ago.
Mm.
So it looks like the spending power is really increasing. It was witnessed in car sales also recently, where the SUV segment above 12 lakhs was the top selling variant instead of the usual Marutis and 800s and Altos that we used to sell earlier. So that segment is growing very fast, with the middle class is spending more money.
Mm.
So if you look at McDonald's, if you look at Burger King, if you look at any model, their prime vulnerability I see is they pick up a model which is made for a country which is not India.
Mm.
So they do the entire model, they replicate it, and they make some changes, some twists to fit into India and send it to India.
Mm.
It was working till now, till
Yeah,
the Indian brains were not working. But now we are in what we call the golden age of startups in India.
correct.
Every industry is witnessing massive number of startups in India, and the government is encouraging it. So at this time, I think they'll find it really difficult to compete. It's just a matter of time.
Mm.
I'll give you a very simple example. If you look at McDonald's, we talk about US where they were established.
Mm.
I see their prime recurrent cost every year not being real estate. It is actually manpower.
Mm.
So they want to have minimal number of people who can do maximum number of burgers in a day.
Mm.
So you'll see everything in their kitchen is set up accordingly.
Mm.
It's free movement kitchen so that a guy can move around easily. It'll have a lot of automation, so they really spend on machineries, expensive fryers, digital timers on fryer tires, things like that, And they're a large kitchen, so they don't worry about real estate as much as manpower. Whereas when we bring that model to India, my concept totally changes. Now I don't want to save on manpower as much as I want to save on real estate. Because now, in especially tier one cities, we have the largest and most expensive chunks of real estate anywhere in the world. A
Correct.
place in Bombay is going to cost a bomb to build a restaurant. So my focus now is to save on real estate rather than manpower. Because here in India, we have a lot of people who are available
Correct.
at a much lesser cost.
Mm.
So our model, if you see, we'll set up a store which is full dine-in and delivery model, a
Mm.
completely hybrid delivery dine-in compact store. The smallest size we can do is about 350 square feet. And even in 350 square feet, we'll have a seating for about 15 people. So the kitchen size can be as compact as 100 square feet and still capable of delivering about 100 burgers in 2 hours. So our model is we don't focus on expensive machinery. A fryer which needs probably two guys, fine, I'll have five guys in the kitchen. That increases my capacity. And
Mm.
still, my setup cost is low because I'm not spending on expensive machinery. My real estate cost is low because I'm not spending recurrent rentals, which is why I can sell a burger for 29 rupees today, which a McDonald's even cannot do.
Very well said. And my next question to you, Rajat, is that QSR traditionally is very quick, but it also has a short life. That's what I've seen with a lot of QSR restaurants.
Mhm.
How are you handling factors of menu fatigue, lesser number of people coming in? What is it that you are doing that is enabling you to just keep growing?
So this is a very good question, and it actually is a problem in the industry, especially in tier one cities. Because there is so much of variety available,
Hmm.
and you'll see it all the time. I mean, you'll see big restaurants packing up who've not really transformed with time, and who have rigidly been the same over the years. They don't stand alone, and a lot of legacy places in Delhi now, for example, have shut down because they had an immense drop in walk-ins.
Hmm.
At the same time, if you go to tier two and tier three cities, you will see there are restaurants which have not changed anything. And they've been selling the same thing for 60 years now, and they are still running. I mean, a perfect example is my hometown is Allahabad, and we have a restaurant there which is called El Chico. And it's been there for, I mean, the longest time. And there are people who are elder to me who I meet sometimes in Delhi, and they talk about El Chico. So it's
Hmm.
been a legacy, and they really haven't evolved much, if you ask me, the menu till until the very recent years.
Mhm.
But still, they had to walk in. So brand loyalty is something in India which is going very, very fast. People are really losing brand loyalty, especially in places where there are varieties available.
Hmm.
So in Delhi, we see this as a problem,
Hmm.
and what we do is, of course, we refresh the menu every now and then, purely based on statistics. Where is the mood going? What do they want more? And of course, we refresh our store formats also. So the colors we used to play with, primarily, they are being changed every single year. So
Okay.
when people walk into the same Wat-a-Burger store in Lucknow, and when they walk to one which is just been made now in Patna, they'll see some sort of refreshment there. So we keep changing around the branding, new photo shoots every now and then. adding one new ingredient to that same old burger so that it has a refreshed taste. And of course, refresh the menu every now and then. I mean, I think we do menu refreshments in less than 6 months now, and we do add a couple of items which become our flagship product for that month. We experimented, see how the numbers are going on that product. If it is good, it takes a permanent place in our menu. If it is not, it is just a refreshment item and it goes and replaces something else. So we keep doing that, and we are just about to add a gourmet range also. As we spoke that people are now willing to spend money also on food in large numbers, we are going to start a new segment, which is the gourmet range from Wat-a-Burger, starting at about 300 rupees. Where our menu used to end is where this would start. So we are now going to cater for people who start at 29 rupees all the way to probably 700 rupees.
Fantastic. So time for two more questions. My next question to you is that, when I was talking to some interesting, food people, they were telling me that in India, a very significant amount of orders is still butter chicken, kali dal, kebabs, and tandoori roti. How are, and in the South, of course, there are different kinds of cuisines. Where do burgers fit in, and what kind of share are burgers beginning to take off the plate?
Well, see, when we started, QSR was just 4% of the entire food industry. And they were growing, even though they were 4% of the industry, were growing at a massive rate of 30 to 40% year on year. So it is a segment which is rapidly expanding. And as you rightly said, butter chicken has been I think for the longest time, it's been the best selling product in the market.
Correct.
So that is where we are trying to encash by infusing butter chicken with a growing segment inside the industry. So now lesser and lesser people want to walk inside a restaurant and order butter naan and butter chicken and spend half an hour and eating it. So what they want is quick. So you will see that if somebody launches a naan roll tomorrow, like a naan which is wrapped with butter chicken inside, it's going to sell like hotcakes because it gives them the same flavor, same experience, but it's easy to grab, go quick. So it's all dependent on the way the lifestyle is changing of people. So if you see in tier 1 cities, our maximum delivery orders, they happen post 9:30, 10 o'clock, all the way to 3 a.m. Why? Because we all know that Delhi, if you are working in an office, by the time you get back home, it's already 10 p.m. Traffic and everything, you finish your work, drive down home, get fresh, it's already 10 p.m. So that's when you order food. Whereas when we see tier 2 and tier 3 cities, your maximum delivery orders happen between the usual conventional dining times, which is 8 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. and you peak at about 9:30, 10. So burgers do fit in as a very good block inside this gap which is there, because they are successfully able to fuse the famous dishes in India along with a convenient product. These grab and go types, you can just quickly eat and go. So it's becoming a popular go-to place for students, for children, for teenagers, even for adults now. So instead of doing a small meeting over a cup of coffee, they do it over a cup of coffee and probably some quick burgers also, which you really can't do in traditional butter chicken restaurants. I mean, how many kids do we know in school who want to go to an Indian restaurant to celebrate a birthday party? But they would really love it if they go to a burger joint where they can be served the same chicken makhani inside a burger, along with probably some French fries and some sodas and some shakes also. So that's where we fit in, and we see it as successfully happening in India. People are really ready for this kind of change.
How nice. Rajat, on that note, I think we've run out of time, but what a conversation I've had with a pilot chef, if I may to use that term. Thank you for talking to me about your incredible journey of building Wat-a-Burger, 75 restaurants, Indian flavors. I mean, I think I'm going to be really watching out for what you will be doing, Wat-a-Burger will be doing over the years. I'm going to definitely try and order one, through one of these delivery places and try it out myself in the next couple of days. Thank you again for speaking to me, and good luck.
Thank you, Ashutoshi. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.